Welcome to English Podcasts. Relax and enjoy your listening practice.
For years, my life followed a routine that was, well, so predictable I could almost feel time just slipping through my fingers without leaving any trace. Every morning, I'd sit at the same desk, open the same spreadsheets, answer the same emails, and kind of tell myself that stability was something to be grateful for, even when it was quietly draining the energy out of me. I wasn't unhappy in some dramatic way, but there was this constant feeling that I was living someone else's version of a safe life, not really my own. The idea of hiking the Pacific Crest Trail came to me slowly. It wasn't some big, sudden decision, more like a quiet whisper that I tried to ignore at first. I'd read about it years earlier, this trail stretching for thousands of miles across deserts, mountains, forests, and for a long time it felt like something meant for other people. You know, the kind of people who are braver, stronger, or just less afraid to leave everything behind. But the thought kept coming back, especially on those quiet evenings when I'd realize how little of the world I'd actually experienced. The turning point came on a completely ordinary Tuesday. I was sitting in a meeting, listening to conversations that felt distant and repetitive, and I suddenly understood something. If I did nothing, I'd still be sitting there 10 years later, feeling the same quiet dissatisfaction. It wasn't dramatic, but it was clear, undeniable. And within a month, I'd resigned from my job, packed my things into storage, and bought a one-way ticket to the trailhead. The first few weeks on the trail were honestly far from inspiring. I struggled with the physical demands. My body ached pretty much all the time, and there were moments when I questioned every decision that had brought me there. I missed comfort, routine, the certainty of a paycheck. But something started to shift as I kept walking. Mile by mile, I began to understand that progress doesn't come from sudden strength. It comes from just being willing to continue, even when you feel unprepared or uncertain. There were days when I walked alone for hours, surrounded by silence, and those moments kind of forced me to face myself in a way I never had before. I started letting go of the fear of making mistakes and the need to control everything. Instead, I focused on something simpler, just honest effort, one step after another, trusting that it was enough. By the time I reached the northern end of the trail, I wasn't the same person who had left that office months earlier. I hadn't become fearless, not really, but I had learned how to move forward despite fear. I didn't have all the answers, but I'd found something more important, the confidence that I could change my life even when the path ahead wasn't clear. And looking back now, I realized the hardest part was never the mountains or the distance. It was the decision to begin, to step away from what felt safe and allow myself to live a life that actually felt true. And once I did that, everything else somehow became possible.